Okay, so here we are again, and you have the question, why would I choose Teleplace over something more conventional like the web-based sharing systems, maybe GoToMeeting or WebEx? Well, here I'd like to just run through a number of features that I've written down as a user, and I'm going to move over to my feature list at this point. I just want to disclaim at the outset here that I am not an employee of Teleplace. I work for a private corporation as a mechanical engineer. And we use Teleplace because it allows us to collaborate quickly and very efficiently with people remote from us, other offices that we have around the country. And it allows us to share things in ways that others don't. And I just wanted to go through this and just share a few thoughts here. First of all, I think it's important to understand that Teleplace is a virtual space. It's like a conference room. It's easy to understand because when you come into it, it's very visual and you can see where things are, and things are 3D located very much like the offices that you currently work in. And as a result of that, once you get used to moving around in it, it becomes very much like an office or a conference room space. It has high quality 3D stereo located voice, which simply means that if someone is to the right of you, it sounds like they're to the right of you. If they're in front of you, it sounds like it's in front of you, and if they're further away, it's fainter. The voice quality is really exceptional. Teleplace has done a number of things to make sure that voice is always priority in the transmission, and it's also easy to see by looking up at the icons who is talking. In this case, if I turn my microphone on, you'll see that if I'm talking, this goes on. And this is very helpful in meetings where sometimes it's difficult to recognize people by their voices. It's easy to see the presence of a person. If a person is not paying attention or has gotten up and left their desk, the icon changes and you can tell that they haven't been there. Now, this isn't always true. It really just means they haven't touched their mouse or keyboard, but you get the idea. The interesting thing that we found about Teleplace is that everybody in this shared space has an equal opportunity to engage in the discussion. What we found often is in teleconferences where you have a room full of people sitting around a projector and two people in a remote office. Those two people cannot see or be involved in the interaction. They cannot contribute very well. It's hard to break into the conversation. When you're using Teleplace, everyone has the same opportunity to be part of the discussion because they're all coming in through voice. And so we've found that even internally, when we have a training session or a meeting where there are 5 or 6 people internal and there's maybe one person remote, that it's extremely helpful for that remote person be engaged in the conversation on an equal footing with other people. It's easy, drag and drop functionality. It's easy for almost anyone to share anything that they can do on their desktop. We often use this for design reviews, and we might move quickly to where we're all looking at a spreadsheet where we're doing tolerance analysis to be able to move over to the actual CAD model here and be able to see it, go back to the spreadsheet if we need to, and everybody can work on this. In addition, we find that sometimes while we're talking, one of the members is off looking at a web page, looking up specifications that might be necessary for the discussion, and it allows them to do that very privately. It's like being in a conference room where everybody has their laptop, when in fact not everybody always has access to a laptop in an engineering environment, or is it convenient to bring it into the conference room? In Teleplace, any person using a Mac or a Windows can share anything they have at their desk at any time. Panels can be projected onto a centralized screen so that you can display it to a large audience if you'd like to, and it's easy to switch different panels onto that screen so you can have a lined up show and be able to present it to people very rapidly. There can be many panels open in the same room, so different small groups of people could be looking at different issues. Rooms are exclusive of one another, which makes it easy to have breakout sessions where if you want to break out into a larger group into 2 small groups and talk separately or come up with ideas for a few minutes and then get back together, it's very easy and intuitive to do that. There is no email-based meetings invitation necessary. In other words, it's very simple to just say, meet me in the project room. And people log in and they go to the project. Where I work, we use the AOL Instant Messenger in our group. And whenever we need to get together, we'll just flag several different people and say, let's meet in the conference room now. There's no need to see if that conference room is empty. There's no need to get up from your desk and walk somewhere. There's no need to wait for another group to get out of the room that you're waiting to get into. It's an instant conference room. It's also very significant that data is persistent. You can leave things in the room, and if a person is out and comes in later that day, they can see what you've done. And you can create these war rooms where you can put documents and slideshows and PowerPoints and schedules and working boards and schedule boards and many different things that allow a team to work together when they're distances apart and time zones apart. Along with all the various features to share data, it's also possible and very simple to record a session fully. All the audio and video is recorded together and can be left as an object on one of the boards for someone to come in later if they had to miss part of a meeting. Sessions can be broadcast to the web so that people without licenses can watch and listen and see what is going on with the larger audience presentations. Meetings can be moderated so that the moderator has various abilities to control the meeting, to shut down external chat, to keep people focused on certain things during a certain time. This can be set up easily within Teleplace by simply going to the meeting menu, pulling down, and selecting that you want to lead the meeting, and you become the leader and have a number of different options that allow you to effectively monitor and lead the meeting. A user can elect to tag along with another user. Wherever that leader goes, the followers follow. And this allows us to bring people in who are unfamiliar and be able to walk them through and sort of keep them with us while we're visually jumping around the room. You can import 3D models into Teleplace that can be examined by the group, and they're fully 3D. You can use your laser pointer to point at them and discuss features about them. There's no need for one person to be controlling a 3D image on a screen when other people want to look at some other portion of that screen. There is a webcam functionality such that if you want to turn on a webcam so that other people can see, you can do that very simply, and it can be projected onto panels, and we have used this sometimes in design reviews to actually show images of mechanical details that we're working on, zoom in on circuit boards and show features with a high focus webcam. You can really do a lot of work with this feature projected onto the screen for other people to see. There are a number of other tools, including working on diagrams with whiteboards, instant slideshows by dragging and dropping images from Windows Explorer onto a display panel. Anybody can do this, and it's very useful when taking a number of photos, for instance, on an assembly line of how things go together to be able to share that remotely and easily. You can attach sticky notes. There's a way to get vote tallies. And all of this can be put onto cards that can be stored in your personal inventory. Licenses can be made available quickly to people, and those licenses can be restricted to certain rooms. So for instance, we have a vendor room where when we want to bring vendors in, they're restricted to that room and cannot go to the other rooms to see what's going on. There's a low overhead lobby that can be used, so you can close out of Teleplace and leave the lobby open. And the lobby gives you information about who is in what rooms and what teleplaces are available. And you can go from the lobby to any of those rooms with a one-click instant move. I've been going over some of the features that I believe are more or less unique to Teleplace. Here's a list of features that are not unique to Teleplace but are much more convenient and useful. First of all, you don't need conference room space. A conference room is always available, and if you don't have one, you can make one. Users do not have to leave their computer. They can go to a conference room quickly, while they stay at their desk or their kitchen counter or the airport lounge and still be in a meeting. We found it very useful for some people who work at home to be able to join in meetings and not have to schedule our meetings around when they can be in the office. You don't have to have a conference room set up with a projector and speaker phones. If part of the meeting does not require your full attention, you can do other things, such as answering urgent phone calls. You just simply turn off your microphone and answer your phone call, and you can be back in the meeting as soon as the phone call is done. You don't have to do formal invitations. You simply go there and you can work. You can go there ahead of time and set things up very, very simply so that when people come, you're ready to go. And as I mentioned before, everyone has an equal visibility of status in the virtual space. This is very, very important when you have a small group of people off-site where the local group tends to dominate it. And private side conversations can be engaged without disturbing the meeting by simply using the private voice chat. I want to add a few comments about my impression of the avatar-based system. Teleplace uses avatars, and this is a new concept to many people. It should be noted that most people adapt very, very quickly, and it doesn't take long using the product, 2 or 3 sessions, before a person feels very comfortable and the avatar kind of disappears. However, many people coming into a meeting like this often express when they leave that they felt like they were actually in a meeting. You can see others visually coming and going around you. It's much easier than on a phone when it suddenly drops out and you don't know where the person went. In Teleplace, you can actually see them and you can see their participation in the meeting. Being in a conference room in Teleplace is much more real in its own way. It gives you a sense of being there. Actions like nodding and shaking your head, raising your hand create a sense of being in the meeting. Because we all live and move in 3D spaces, and we use these 3D spaces to accomplish tasks in life, moving around in a virtual 3D space to accomplish similar tasks is intuitive, requires very little learning time other than to the experience of affecting the move. And you can actually customize your avatar. As you've seen, my avatar looks rather like me. Lastly, I simply want to mention that I believe that compared to other kinds of systems out on the market, this is a very robust system, but it's also very cost effective. A stereo noise canceling headset costs between $20 and $50, perfectly adequate depending on where you buy it. A webcam is $20 to $150 depending on the quality you want or need. And I'm not going to talk about the cost here specifically because depending on how you employ it, the Teleplace folks will give you a quote. But I will say it's very, very comparable, if not less in some cases, than other similar programs that are much less fully featured. So all in all, I believe that Teleplace offers a very robust, very intuitive, realistic kind of meeting place, easily available, quick, fast, and efficient for use of teams of people working together, particularly over distances, even within a building complex or even in a single building where you might have manufacturing down on the first floor and engineering on the third floor, as we do, where people can get together in meetings, not having to worry about scheduling problems, not having to worry about sending out an invitation ahead of time or only certain people being able to offer invitations. Anybody can come to the Teleplace and work at any time. I hope this has been helpful in understanding what I see are huge advantages of a system like Teleplace in creating a realistic conference environment. Thank you.